You are in the Power Zone now with DU. DU's Power Zone.
Power Zone with DU is dedicated to bringing you insightful communication and resources that will guide you further in making your personal and professional goals a reality. Through candid, stimulating, and essential conversations, we focus on the 9 universal goals of success, which include career, finances, education, family, arts, attitude, health and wellness, leisure, and public service. Based upon these goals, we provide you, the listener, with practical measures of advancement. Good evening, family, and welcome to the Power Zone with DU. I am your host, Darlene A. Anderson, founder of Darlene's Utopia and author of Not Without a Fight, 10 Ways to Win When It Appears You've Already Lost. And you, my friends, have entered the Power Zone with DU. Happy June all. Today is June 1st. We are unofficially in summer. Although summer has not officially begun on the calendar, this past weekend said otherwise. Memorial Day weekend, the weather was beautiful. If you're like me, I'm sure you got in a couple of barbecues. Maybe you did the beach thing. Maybe you took the kids to the amusement park, or perhaps you just sat in your backyard with your feet up, drank your lemonade, and read your book. Whatever it was that you did, I hope you made the best of it. And I'm looking forward to spending further beautiful weeks with you as we're entering the summer. We have a great lineup for you this summer. I can't wait. I'm going to keep that a surprise for now, but family, be on the lookout for exciting guests over the summer. Now, if you're further like me, maybe you took some time out to get some spring cleaning done in between all of those barbecues and great fun that you had over the past weekend. If that was the case and you have some gently used clothing that you're undecided what to do with, we invite you to check out our affiliate organization, Utopia Network, Inc. There you will find information of how Utopia Network is partnering with international partners in Africa and Haiti to help make a difference in the lives of disadvantaged individuals. That means those clothing items that you have on the side, pants, shirt, shoes, suit jackets, even linen, certain linen, gently used linen, please considering giving your clothing to Utopia Network, Inc. So this summer, you can definitely help other individuals that are less advantaged have brighter days. And again, you can log on to Utopia Network, Inc. for more information about their drop-off dates to donate. All right. Now, we want to thank our returning listeners for coming back and joining us every week. It's always a pleasure to have you out here. We want you to continue to listen, continue to send your questions to us via our radio page or at Darlene's Utopia's website. We love your questions. We're definitely going to continue to bring great, insightful communication to help elevate you to your highest level of personal and professional potential. We also want to say thank you to our new listeners. We're excited to have you out here. We hope you enjoy the show, and we want you to continue to listen in on the Power Zone with DU and share it with your networks. We're going to prepare to go out on a small break in which we're going to share information with you about what exactly Darlene's Utopia is, our latest happenings. Again, we want you to log on to the page, darlenesutopia.com. There you will find information about myself, Darlene A. Anderson, the radio show, the book, Not Without a Fight, 10 Ways to Win When It Appears You've Already Lost. If you haven't obtained your copy, I invite you to, as we are going into the third quarter of the year. July marks the third quarter of the year. If you don't have your strategies in place and you're looking for that right resource to help catapult you into the third and fourth quarter of 2016, there's still time in 2016, family. I just want to let you know that. I definitely invite you to get the book and learn how to win in this year while there's still time. We're going to go out on a small break. And when we return, we're going to jump right into our community feature. We'll be right back, family. Darlene's Utopia is a full-service consulting company created to empower, motivate, and provide resources for clients through coaching, speaking engagements, and events. Our goal is to help clients and event attendees reach their highest personal and professional potential. To learn more about Darlene's Utopia, log on to www.darlenesutopia.com.
Good evening, family, and you have returned to the Power Zone with DU. I am your host, Darlene A. Anderson, founder of Darlene's Utopia and author of Not Without a Fight, 10 Ways to Win When It Appears You've Already Lost. And we are in our next segment of the Power Zone with DU. Now, if you're just turning in, that means that you're on our episode page and you said, I want to check out this interview specifically. We invite you to go back and check out the intro just to get the latest happenings as it relates to Darlene's Utopia and the Power Zone. But we thank you for joining us anyway. And after you're done with this segment, we further invite you to fast forward and check out the next two segments. That's the author spotlight as well as the entrepreneur feature. It brings me great pleasure to bring out our next guest. He is a friend of mine. You know, he was a friend of mine. He is a friend. He's an amazing community activist. He's a great dad. He's just doing a number of things within the New Jersey area. And, you know, we always talk about the power of networking on this show. I remember being online one day and preparing for my conversation series. For some of you returning listeners, you know about DU's conversation series. If you don't, I invite you to check it out on our website and look at the archives on our YouTube page. So we have this great forum in which we bring men and women together throughout the United States of America, and we discuss great attributes of maintaining healthy relationships. And I was online, and I saw he used to do like these questions of the day. I saw a question of the day, and I was blown away by it. And sometimes we're afraid to ask questions. We'll say, all right, well, they probably won't come out and be on our panel, or we don't know them, or can we afford to pay them? Sometimes you just have to move to action. Within minutes, I inboxed him, and I said, look, I was referred to your questions of the day. I'm doing this great conversation series. I would like you to come out and partake in it. And that just launched our relationship. We've done many of great works together professionally, as well as getting to know who he is as a person. He has an amazing family. So without further ado, I want to introduce to you all Mr. Michael Jones, who is the founder and president of the I Can Foundation in New Jersey. Mike, welcome to the Power Zone with DU.
Good evening, Darlene. Good evening. Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. So before we get into the I Can Foundation, who are doing great things within the New Jersey area, I want to speak a little bit about who is Mr. Michael Jones, if you will.
A man trying to make a difference and leave his mark in the world. I graduated from Carolina High School. I went on North Carolina A&T, Aggie Pride. Then I furthered my education at NJIT, studying electrical engineering. However, it turned around and I opened up a barbershop. You know, I've been cutting hair since 1988, dating myself right now, and I've decided to follow my passion as opposed to just a dollar. You follow your passion, the dollar will come. So I opened up a barbershop, and 16 years later, I'm still in business, doing well, providing for my family well, maintaining a good lifestyle, and at that time, I also started the foundation. So I'm just a man trying to make a difference in the world.
Awesome story, and it all intertwines one another. Because although we have different segments of this show, and this is the community feature, you've just spoken to entrepreneurship, you're speaking to being a great dad. We're going to dive into what a nonprofit is, adolescent development. It's all of these amazing things that are intertwined with your passion. So I would assume that the I-10 Foundation, you said that you had a barbershop. The I-10 Foundation, some of those thoughts, were they sparked and sitting in the shop or having people sit in your chair and just really seeing face-to-face what the lack was in your community?
Definitely. I share a story with you. One time, there's about 6 young men in a barbershop just out of high school for the day. And they came in to get their haircuts. Well, 3 of them getting a haircut, the other 3 just hanging out. And it was just them in the shop, myself, and one of my other barbers, not a busy day. And I decided to ask them what were their plans after high school. Upon graduation, what do they want to do? And all of them mentioned something in entertainment, whether it was sports or music. And one said a plumber. And at that moment, although I believe in the dreams and everybody should dream and dream big, it's just they weren't thinking outside the box. There's plenty of other career opportunities out there, and the ones that they're choosing is because that's what they see on TV. Not even the person behind the camera filming the TV program. So I wanted to do a little more awareness to wake our youth up to different ideas that they could do and just be as happy, if not happier, and have a little more control over their life,
Correct. Well said, and definitely well needed. Okay, so you see this, and it's frustrating. It's frustrating when you say, because it's like, oh, come on. You want to do that? You want to be that person that you're seeing on the camera, but do you know how much the person behind the camera gets paid? Do you know how much the program manager gets paid? Do you know you have choices? Do you know you don't have to be a basketball player to make money, but you can be a manager. You can recruit. You can be a coach. Like, they don't look at things like that. So you see all of this and you want to make the change. How did that transition? Let's talk about the I-10 Foundation. Can you let our listeners know exactly what the I-10 Foundation is? And then we're going to talk about the development of it for a little bit. Okay?
Yes. The I-10 Foundation mission is empowering our youth to new levels of success. And coming home, I realized that, I've done well for myself. At the time, I didn't have a family.
Yeah.
And I said I wanted to do something to make a difference. I always did different things, throw parties and banquets and things of that nature. However, I never felt I really gave enough back to the community. Yes, I tutored with the NAACP through college and things, but I wanted to do something a little more active. So the birth of the I Can Foundation came up. November is National Family Reading Month. So I threw a banquet for National Family Reading Month. I donated to a school and also some books that I received. And it just kept going from there. I started tutoring again. I partnered with Rutgers, the Paul Robeson Cultural Center. I used tutors there. I was on the campus there tutoring, bringing our students to Rutgers. This was a phenomenal thing, and I loved it. I loved the look in the kids' eyes, how happy they were when they was getting to see average, and they come to me, Mr. Jones, I got to be, just their excitement. And it took off from tutoring and starting to mentor them and spending a little more time with them, sharing my knowledge with them and those others that helped me along the way. They were sharing their knowledge as well. So it's not just me. It's board of directors. It's other tutors and facilitators and community activists, and we all come together to share the mission of empowering our youth to new levels of success and try to take care of their education as well as just their daily lives.
Thank you for providing that information. I love that you spoke to. You mentioned a lot. You mentioned the NAACP. You mentioned Rutgers. You mentioned your board of directors. You are also a part of a fraternity. Is that correct? Yes,
Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. I became a member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity in 1994 at North Carolina A&T Ada chapter. So there also learned a lot about community, and we also did a lot in the community. Sleep out for the homeless, go to different soup kitchens and serve. So it's always been in me to do community service and to help, and I think everybody should help if you're capable and able. So yeah, it's always been there. And life is about partnerships. So
Correct.
the Rutgers came along, and Boys and Girls Club I even worked with, the YMCA. So life is definitely about partnerships and doing things together.
And I see that. I see that at your events. That's one of the great things about coming out and either sitting as an attendee or being a part of something that you're doing. It's a beautiful thing to see the partnerships, the networks. You put your all into it, as well as your board of directors. You have an amazing board of directors, and I love the fact that you have a board that are just boards at large. They're directors at large. They don't come out. They're not a part of it. They fundraise. They give money. They give ideas. That's that. But your board, you really see them in the threads of everything that you do, and that is a great thing, and it speaks volumes to your leadership specifically. So I just want to acknowledge the great work that you, as Mr. Jones, is doing that everyone else follows, because if the vision is not clear, people will not follow. So the vision has to be clear, and you have to be a great leader, and you definitely are. You're very much welcome. I want to just speak to some of those products that you're providing, those services, so to speak, that you're providing, so our listeners can know specifically what's being done. I know that you mentioned November was National Reading Month, and that was the launch of one of your events, your event through the ICANN Foundation. But you do an ongoing book program throughout the year, as well as bowling and different other things. Can you speak about that a little bit?
Yes, throughout the year we have different programs. The fiscal year runs September 1st to August 31st. We start off the year in September with a PSAT, SAT boot camp, which is a free program where kids come out and we just teach them how to take the standardized test, because a lot of it's strategy. It's not just what you know, it's how to take the test. So we offer that program. We do Hoop for a Cause, where every year we pick a different cause, whether it's collecting canned goods or coats, and we play a local team, whether it's the PAL or whether it's the police academy or a fire department. We do a basketball game, a fun game. It's like the Harlem Globetrotters meet Rutgers Park. So we have a fun game, DJ and everything out there. We try to collect something and give it to another organization that needs it. We do we do a Black History program every year, whether it's a panel, whether it's Lieutenant Charles Nolly, who came in one year with a Red Tails pilot. So we always do something in the community for Black History Month. The bowling for books. That's one of our staple events where we actually get everybody together for a fundraiser and collect books and donate them, whether it's to libraries starting off, whether it's to students who need books, or schools who also need books. So
yes,
we do that every year. The whole build-up throughout the year, the different fundraisers that we do, the different community events that we do, everything's pretty much free except our fundraisers, which hence the word funds. So we lead up to give away college scholarships. This past year, we gave away 4. Right now, we have currently 6 students under scholarships in college right now. Every semester we cut another check to them, just to follow their path and what they're doing. And that's the overall mission, empowering them that way educationally to go to college or go to a trade school, and they can enjoy the military, but do something to say, I'm qualified. Just get your qualification, get your credentials out there so you can move forward in life and nobody can stop.
Do it early. I love that you're targeting young people at young ages with saying, you can do this early and enjoy life later. My dad used to always say, work hard now, play later. And I did the total opposite. Even though I went through the channels of school and everything, I played a lot in school. I didn't take it as seriously as being 25, 26, 27 saying, all right, look, what did I go to school for? What do I want to do with my degree? How can I make more money? We didn't have, so I had my parents, but I didn't have community mentors such as the ICANN Foundation that were really coming and grabbing young people and saying, all right, let's put some strategies in place right now. So projection-wise, 10 to 20 years later, you could be a little bit more comfortable if you apply yourself today. And that's what I like about your organization. I just want to acknowledge Listeners, they are giving young people money. It's a beautiful thing. Two things that really brought tears to my eyes when I came out, literally brought tears to my eyes, was your Black History Month event where you had the Red Tail college there. That was phenomenal. To see history in threads as a person, it's like really being here and seeing the greats, seeing Dr. King, seeing Malcolm X, seeing Harriet Tubman. You hear all of these stories, you read about it, you see documentaries, but to see it was beautiful. And I think there were a lot of red-eyed people in the room because that event, and I believe that Black History event was 2013?
Yes.
2013.
Yes,
Family, you can check out the archives for that. If you are on your devices right now, please go to the website. That is the icf3.org site. Again, that's the icf3.org. If you're not able to log on, we have the link on our page for the ICANN Foundation. You can log on in your leisure and check out the great things that are happening at the foundation. And we're speaking with Mr. Michael Jones, the founder and president of the ICANN Foundation. So, Mike, what's coming up for the organization from 2016 into 2017?
Well, right now we're working on a launch party. We're going to relaunch ourselves. Colgate Palmolive is one of the biggest sponsors we have right now, and I'm trying to get more corporate sponsorship. So what we're going to do is do a luncheon, and it's going to be a launch party where Walmart directors will be there, speak towards their piece. You know, Director of Education will speak about what it takes to get this piece done, the SAT boot camps, the scholarship funds, you know, public relations. What does it take for him to get these things in the paper or on local news channels of our events and what we're doing? I'm going to speak about the overall goal and mission of the foundation and get these powerful people in the room and launch ourselves to them because we still want to grow and grow and grow and grow. And my overall mission is just to be able to pay for 10,000, if I can, students go on to college and succeed. Because one of the greatest pieces one of the greatest reasons why a lot of people don't complete is finances. College is getting more and more expensive. We all know this. So how are you going to pay for it? You know, and loans, you don't always want to graduate and then have this debt there either. So I'm trying to do my piece to give them money, and you need a 2.5 to qualify.
Yes.
You don't need a 3.0. You don't need a 4.0. You need 2.5, and we'll look at it and see everything else that comes along with it. We take into consideration your family, the extracurricular activities, all those things. You know, I graduated with a 2.76, and I went on to be a phenomenal student in college. You know, so
can you talk about it, please? And that's important for our listeners to know. Listeners, if you have children, or even if you yourself are in high school or preparing for college, you don't worry about being in competition with anybody else except yourself. Sometimes that 2.5 is just what you need to get to where you need to go. That 2.0, I'm going to put it out there. That 2.0, if you're working hard for those C's and D's, because school is not for everybody, but if you're applying yourself, that's what counts. And thank you for sharing that. And you are great in this day. I want to give them, you talked about your barbershop. I want to just give them the name of where you're at, your barbershop specifically, and also you're in the New Jersey area, but you're servicing the greater New Jersey. Is that correct?
Yes. I take my barbershop is Miriam's Barbershop in Boundbrook, New Jersey, and mybarbershop.com. With the foundation, I service 3 different counties: Middlesex County, Somerset, and Union County. Those 3 counties are what I'm working with right now. And just to let you know, and I haven't told you, even though we spoke, I'm going back to school. I'm going back to school again, and I decided I'm going to become a teacher. You know, so I'm going on to the next phase of my life, still having a foundation, but step away from the barber chair within the next 3 years, and I'm going to go full-fledged and start teaching the youth so I could watch them develop from first grade all the way to graduating college.
That is awesome. You've actually just put something in the ears of some of our listeners who may be in their businesses right now, be it nonprofit or for-profit, and considering going back to school, you have to further your education. As a leader, it's imperative that you continue to further your education, because we can't speak to people and tell them what to do if we ourselves have not gone those extra steps in doing what we're asking them to do. So thank you for sharing that, and congratulations to you. I see you're teaching now, right? You've been in the colleges and the middle schools, correct?
Yes.
So this is going to be a full-time thing now. Congratulations in advance, brother. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're very much welcome. Mike, it's been a pleasure. I know we can't keep you on this evening. You have things that you need to do, and we definitely want to ensure that you're up in the morning and able to continue the great works. We want to thank you for your time. Again, listeners, Michael's information is on our website for the ICANN Foundation and his barbershop. Mike, we're going to go out on what we call the song of the show, and that's when we ask our guests to please share with us what song motivates them and why.
My song, Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror. That's where it starts. As you really listen to that song and the lyrics, it starts with you. You know, if you're not going to be part of the solution, then you're part of the problem type thing. I look at myself in the mirror every day and say, what am I going to do? What am I going to do to make a difference? You know, we all can complain. We complain till we're blue in the face. But what are you going to do to actually make a difference? And that's why that song right there inspires me since the first time I heard it. You know, I'll stand there, listen to that song, just look at myself in the mirror. You can't lie to yourself, and you are responsible, and you are a product of your choices. So what choices you're going to make every day is the development of you. So Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror, is one song that inspires me and keeps me going.
Great selection. Listeners of the Power Zone, we're going to go out with Michael Jackson's Man in the Mirror, and we'll return after the
organization here in New York City, in which I serve as the president and CEO. It is something that is near and dear to my heart. I'm excited about servicing the underserved population within Brooklyn and beyond. And our mission is to connect individuals and families with services that will promote stability and a better quality of life. We are committed to ensuring that the underserved communities have an understanding of the tremendous opportunities for productivity in their adversities and move to actions of advancement. Family, I invite you to log on to Utopia Network, Inc., learn more about the organization, and get involved. We have an amazing itinerary for 2016 in which we're coming out. We're bringing about awareness, education. We're helping change lives, and we definitely can utilize your services. Whether you're forwarding the information online or passing it on, now is the time to get involved and be a part of the change in which you want to see.
Good evening, family, and welcome back to the Power Zone with DU. I am your host, Darlene A. Anderson, founder of Darlene's Utopia and author of Not Without a Fight, 10 Ways to Win When It Appears You've Already Lost. And you, my friends, have re-entered the Power Zone. That was a great segment we just had prior. If you are logged on specifically for this segment, that means that you're on our page and you said, I want to listen to the author's interview. We invite you to rewind and check out our community feature with Mr. Michael Jones of the ICANN Foundation out in New Jersey, a brother that is definitely making a difference in the lives of our young people. So again, check out the prior segment and learn a little bit more about the ICANN Foundation. Now, with that stated, we are grateful to have you join us for this segment. This is the Author's Spotlight, and as always, I am excited about our guests. We ensure that we bring the best of the best out to bring you informative communication as it relates to literature, nonprofits, community, business, everything. So to have an author on this segment that's going to bring great information and relate it to the lives of others on this call, it's a beautiful thing. I am honored to be in the company of this gentleman on a business level. We've done work together. He's come out and support. And again, it goes back to the power of networking. someone said one day, you know what, it's someone that I want you to meet. He's an author, you're an author. I think you guys should speak and talk about doing work together. And it was probably the best referral during that time that I had had. Him and I wound up speaking on the phone for maybe 2.5 to 3 hours, just based on the referral. Before we even met, we had a number of conversations, which hyped it up even more to the point when we met, we just went into action with some of the things that we wanted to do as it relates to helping to reshape our community. So without further ado, I introduce to you all author Malik, the renowned author of Convicted at Birth. Malik, welcome to the Power Zone with DU.
It's a blessing and an honor to be on your show.
There you go, brother. Thank you so very much. I appreciate you. How have you been? How are things going? What are the spring days looking like for you?
Everything is going pretty well. I can't complain. I'm still above ground. What I'm doing basically now, though, I'm doing some little cure violence in Yonkers with a program called Snug. And, I'm doing a little work for them. And so far, so good.
Awesome. And we're going to speak about that because you're actually doing a lot of work with young people. Mentorship, you're going into schools, you're going into churches, you're going into, prisons, residential treatment facilities. So we're going to speak about all of that as it relates to empowering our youth. Before we get into that, though, I want our listeners to learn a little bit more about Convicted at Birth. Can you share for us the book itself and what actually was the origin of its creation?
Well, the origin is predicated on my life, some of the trials and tribulations that I've been through, and some of the things that a lot of other people are going through, but they may be afraid to share or whatever. So my book will definitely shed light on atrocities that's transpiring inside the household as far as abuse, whether it's mental or physical. It's dealing with rape, it's dealing with bullying, it's dealing with protection of our women. So it covers a lot of ground, and I think it should be read because it's very helpful for people that's going through the things that I've been through in my life and not being able to speak about it.
Thank you for providing that. It's interesting. We've spoken a lot about this on the show with various guests, that your struggles sometimes can be your catapult to your next level of success, that everyone has a story, but it's what we do with those stories. And unfortunately, some people don't find that transition from the struggle to being empowered, to experiencing what it's like to be on the other side of that circumstance. So it's great that you're able to illustrate that in the book, or we're able to illustrate that in the book, empower yourself, and then move to empowering other individuals. What was that like? What was your transition period? Because you talk a lot in the book, and just to let some of our listeners know, Convicted at Birth is a fictional reference, but it is loosely based on some life experiences.
Correct.
Okay. So can you just speak about that transition period for our listeners?
Well, I like to use analogies, so I'll share this one right quick. Me and a friend of mine, we was watching National Geographic, and they were showing the peacock. The peacock, this bird is beautiful when it pushes out its feathers. This bird is one of the most beautiful birds in the world.
Yes.
But then I looked at the peacock, and I noticed, I said, wow, look at the ugly feet of that peacock. If you notice the feet of the peacock has some of the ugliest feet in the world. But then when my friend made that statement, I said, wow, this transpires so much that we don't even know that it's transpiring. Is that we just seen the beauty of the peacock wings. But yet, we had to find something wrong with it. You see, and I think in our communities, we are always showing the ugly feet that we have. And we're not being shown our beautiful feathers. So once I understood that I don't only have ugly feet, but I also have beautiful feathers, I began to focus on my beautiful feathers and made this transition.
We're all in the studio like, That is a great analogy, and it's well said. You never, and I know listeners, you're sitting here probably in amazement, just like me, scratching your head. How many of you have ever even looked at a peacock's feet? I haven't, and I'm pulling up a peacock's foot. I'm pulling up peacock's feet, and I'm saying, wow, he's 100% correct. We never really take that, look at the ugliness within the beauty. So you had to say, okay, this is the ugly part of me, but this is not who I am. Let me bring out the beauty. Let me work on my positives. That's the transformation. That's what you reflected back on your life, and then you said, okay, how can I make this beautiful now?
Exactly. But let me say this, transformation is physical and transition is mental. Because no one can prevent making a transformation because we have to physically decay, right? So we have to make a transformation. However, people prevent themselves from making transition because they become stagnant mentally. You see, so a transition is mental. Transformation is physical.
So I just want to walk our listeners through the process. You actually wrote Convicted at Birth while you were in prison preparing for your release. So the book was actually published before you could promote it, before you can go out and speak about it, before you could do anything. What was that like, and what was your energy like in preparation to be released?
Well, first I must admit that it was definitely nervous because, I was being released after 22 years. So, I was definitely nervous, because of the technology, basically, because inside I was using a typewriter to write my book. Out here, computers and everything else of that nature. But it was definitely scary, because I was in prison longer than I was in society. So, actually, I'm stepping into a new arena. But I always said to myself, I know technology may have changed, but people remains the same, so I definitely didn't count myself out because people will be people, and I'm pretty good with people. But the excitement of the book itself is definitely, I can't even find words for it because when I went into prison, I was illiterate. I wasn't able to read or write. So coming out now and on my way to becoming an author was, it reached like the apex of my life, so to speak. So it was definitely it had ups and downs though. It was sad and nervous, happy. It was all types of mixed emotions, but it was beautiful. It was a blessing. So I appreciate it.
Thank you for sharing that. And the reason why we wanted to have you to speak to that a little bit is because, one, for you to give your insight, and the other is to maybe there is a listener on the call that needed to hear that. And we want them to understand that a lot of people, when they're in prison, they write these books, they talk about what they're going to do when they come out. And unfortunately, when you come out and you're faced with that reality that the world has changed after 20 plus years, 30 plus years for some people, you see that the world has changed and you're not able to still commit to those same things you said you were going to commit to before you were released. So I love that because we've had a couple of other brothers on the show and sisters who speak to former incarceration and coming out and really being active within those strategy plans. So thank you for speaking to that it was hard. A lot of people do learn how to read and write in prison. They do learn social skills in prison. I love that you speak about when you go out that you can't rehabilitate someone who's never been habilitated. I love when you speak to that. Can you share that with our listeners on the Power Zone?
Well, one of the things that we are tricked with, and I think that sometimes we trick ourselves with, is that when we go to prison and then we exit prison, we say rehabilitation. But if I ask you to reheat my chicken, that means the chicken must have been heated once upon a time because means to do it over. But now, how can I be rehabilitated if I come from an abandoned household, I come from an abusive household, I come from my father is raping my sisters, my father is slicing me up, my father is beating my mother, my father is knocking her teeth out her mouth, my father is having sex with homosexuals, my father is doing this, the household is this, the household is in total disarray. How can I have been habilitated in an environment such as this? So a lot of times when we go to prison, we need habilitation, not rehabilitation. And we don't understand is we're coming home as if we've been healed when a Band-Aid has only been put over the scar.
Author Malik, that is intense, and thank you for sharing that. Listeners, it's important for you to understand from your own place of influence that some people are not allotted the same life experiences that we are. Those same things that make us great, that we take for granted at times. We take for granted that we're able to go in our homes and lay in a bed. We take for granted that we have things. We take for granted that we have clothing. There are so many things that we take for granted, similar to education, similar to, a safe environment. These things should never be taken for granted. And if you have had the opportunity of having these things, then it's for you when you look at someone else. We just talked about on the prior show, Man in the Mirror. You have to really look at who you are and how you can help another person from their place of influence, because everyone has not been habilitated just the same. And if you help someone, you might be preventing a future problem. So I thank you for sharing that, Malik. I want to let our listeners know where they can get the book, also your latest happening. So let's talk about Convicted at first. Where can they get the book?
Well, you can download it on Amazon, or you can contact me via Facebook, Author Malik, via social media, any social media, just Author Malik. You can contact me personally, and I can ship it to you, or you can just download it from Amazon.
If you're following Author Malik on Facebook, he invites or provokes, so to speak, because some of the things that I've seen that you put up, although it is inspiring, it provokes conversation as well. Some of the conversation could be taken to the next level depending on who's reading it, but I love the fact that it's communication. It's healthy communication nonetheless. Is that what you do when you're putting up comments? Do you put them up to invoke conversations on a higher level?
Well, actually, my posts are basically to make someone think, because I try my best to think outside the box, because I know what's happening inside the box. So if I'm trying to think outside the box, I just try to put quotes out there to make other individuals think outside the box, so we could just, expand our mind, our mentality. So I write for the people. I just write for the people. But I just wanted to touch on something you said. You use that word education, and I think that's paramount. I think that's very important. Education, and if you put down education, this is what we have to understand. If we put down education, we're putting down ourselves, because education comes from within you. And the root word of education is educare, which means what? To bring out, to bring forth. And you cannot bring anything out of you that doesn't exist within you. So once we put down education, we're putting down ourselves. If we lift up education, then we are self-lifting ourselves.
Well said. Well said indeed. Listeners, Convicted at Birth, please put it into your arsenal, read it, share it, talk about it, get in contact with Author Malik, find out about his happenings. Malik, as I stated prior, you're doing work with adolescents specifically, but you also work with males. You do a lot of work specifically with males. Just the same, you're in schools, churches. Do you have any events coming up that you want to share with our listeners presently?
Well, I'm about to do a children's village. I have to do a speech at Children's Village, and I have to go back to Valhalla Correctional Facility this week. Listeners,
although you can't partake in those events specifically, Malik, please let them know outside of Facebook where they can follow you ongoingly and check out your latest happenings.
Well, first and foremost, I suggest Facebook, because I also put videos up on Facebook that they can listen to and watch, which is very uplifting for people that may be down and out. But also, they can also follow me on Instagram also. Instagram and Facebook. Those are the primary two.
Beautiful. And I hope that you will be joining us. Not even I hope. you will, correct? Look, we put it out there. Malik always makes fun at me and goes, yes, boss. Even though I'm not his boss, he says, when I ask for things, it's just like, look, you coming out there, right? We need for you to be a part of the making of Moguls for 2016. You joined us last year, and it's my hope that you will be returning this year, correct? Will you be returning, brother?
Yes, boss.
Beautiful. The team is laughing right now. It's a great thing. I appreciate you. Thank you for taking time out on this evening to join us in the Power Zone. We wish you continued success. And listeners, we will be back after this small break to jump right into our entrepreneur segment. Malik, be well.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Darlene's Utopia is a full-service consulting company created to empower, motivate, and provide resources for clients through coaching, speaking engagements, and events. Our goal is to help clients and event attendees reach their highest personal and professional potential. To learn more about Darlene's Utopia, log on to www.darlenesutopia.com.
Good evening, family. You have re-entered the Power Zone with DU. I am your returning host, Darlene A. Anderson, founder of Darlene's Utopia and author of Not Without a Fight, 10 Ways to Win When It Appears You've Already Lost. And you, my friends, again, have re-entered the Power Zone with DU. This segment is our entrepreneur segment. If you are just tuning in for this segment, it means that you logged on to our episode page. You see that we have a featured guest, and you clicked into that point on the timeline. We want you to rewind and check out our previous segments. We have the author spotlight as well as the community feature. We are bringing great information to you, and we've actually gone outside of New York, so we traveled to our partner in state, New Jersey, and got some great tidbits as it relates to nonprofit management and youth development. So I invite you to check out those prior segments, and then I further invite you to listen to the archives and pass the word about the Power Zone with DU. With that being stated, I'm excited. It's a pleasure to introduce our next guest to you all. She is a friend of mine as well as a colleague. I've done a magnitude of work with her, and it's exciting to have her join us and to discuss, again, youth development as we've previously been discussing, as well as mental health and entrepreneurship. Can they live in the same space? Of course they can. You can make a difference with your passion and produce profit. Without further ado, I introduce to you all Miss Tanya SheRise Odums, mental health therapist and consultant. Tanya, welcome to the Power Zone.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure, sister. It's my pleasure. It's an honor to have you out here. I will share with the listeners. Tanya and I go as way back as Coco Livia 123, stickballs, staying outside past the street light, talking about what will be tomorrow. And it's a pleasure to be sitting in tomorrow with you as our today. So thank you again for joining us. Let's let the listeners know, like I do. My pleasure again. Who Tanya SheRise Odums is? Who is Miss Tanya SheRise Odums?
Well, professionally, I am a licensed clinical social worker with a psychotherapy license. My technical license is LCSWR, but the title I go by is mental health consultant and therapist.
Beautiful. Okay, let's let our listeners who may be right now in their associates, in their bachelors, possibly even graduating with their masters, or just thinking about what level of higher education they need to pursue to be where you're at right now. Let's speak to those individuals. I remember, as I said, we would sit on the bench late at night, and you were always calm, cool, collective. That's how I remember Tanya. Nothing wrong with Tanya. Tanya just be sitting there. She's like, this is my plan. From early days, early, I mean, 11, 12, 13, you had in your mind what you wanted to do. You were putting strategies in place. And I told you before, you were the reason that I pursued social work, because you always knew you were going to help people. You always said that, I want to help people. I want to help youth. Where did the connection start from thought to action?
So the connection began, as you said, from when I was young. I always wanted to be in a helping profession. I thought I would end up in the medical profession. However, I didn't want to study microbiology and look at germs. So I decided to go into human services, and I did an internship at Sparford Juvenile Detention Center when I was about 18 years old. And as I was sitting there doing the intakes, because that was part of my job as a case manager aide, and I was working on my associate's degree in human services, I noticed that all the young people were coming from the zip codes of 11207, which is East New York, 11212, which was Brownsville. And I realized that a lot of the young people that I was interviewing were coming from my community. I grew up in East New York. And it was at that point that I actually, like, my purpose became known to me, because I had lost my mother at 17, which was really a very, very difficult time for me. And thank God I had family to support me through it, so I could still see a vision for the future. However, many of the people young people I was interviewing, they appeared lost, and they were getting themselves in all type of trouble. So I realized that the experience that I had with my own pain and confusion as I tried to continue with life with mom not being here, that experience could be used to help these young people understand that they too still have a future despite the challenges that life puts before you. And at that point, I made the decision that I was going to finish my associates at New York City Tech College. I went on to John Jay College of Criminal Justice, studied deviant behavior and social control, went on and got a master's in social work degree from Hunter College, where I continued to develop my interest and experience in working with at-risk youth at Catherine House, which is a residential treatment center in the community, a.k.a. group home, but they call it residential treatment now. And that's where I began my career as an adolescent therapist working with teens and families. So my passion developed from me understanding how my experience could help others continue to thrive in the face of life challenges.
Thank you for that. And it's important to know, your story is amazing. Listeners, if you are on your devices and you can log on, I invite you to check out Tanya's website. It's Tanya SheRise Odums. That is TanyasheRiseOdums. TanyasheRiseOdums.com, and it is also on our devices. So if you're not able to click in right now, you can go to our episode page and you can link on at a later time. I love what you just shared, Tanya. It's a lot. I always tell my young people when we start, I do a 10-day work readiness course. And the first day, I always talk about what motivates them. And you'll hear a lot of people, they'll have great things. I'm motivated by my parents because, I see their success. I'm motivated by my kids. I'm motivated by the song that I hear, the movie I've seen. It's always good things. Everybody's motivated by the pursuit of happiness. Everybody's motivated by, it's a wonderful life. But there's motivation also in lack. There can be motivation on your struggles. Your struggles can be motivating in itself. I don't want to be what I used to be. I don't want to be what I'm seeing. I want to make a difference in what I'm seeing. And a lot of people don't pull from that. Unfortunately, some people become subject to their environment. So it's great that you're able to say, all right, there's a problem. I'm looking at a lack. And this is motivating me to do more within my own community. Because you're right. There are those zip codes. That is real. Those statistics are real. Brooklyn is one of the most underserved communities in the United States of America, as shocking as it is. East New York, Brooklyn. So this is true what you're saying, and I thank you for sharing that and giving your services. Let's talk about, all right, so fast forward. Tanya, let's let the listeners know about the services that you're providing. How did you take that passion and put it into service within your company? Let us know the name of your company exactly and the services that you're providing.
So my company's name is HYPE, which stands for Helping Young People Excel. And we've been in existence since 2006. And under the umbrella of HYPE, we offer therapeutic recreational programs. And that includes working with artists in the community to help young people tell their stories through recreation, whether it's dance, whether it's music, whether it's playwriting, whether it's through art. So that is the main focus of HYPE, and we work within the community with other organizations to help them develop their HYPE therapeutic recreational programs. And that program started at a residential treatment facility in Hawthorne Cedar North under the Jewish Board. And in regard to the consulting work that is happening, we offer individual and group and family counseling. As a consultant, I offer psychoeducational workshops, empowerment seminars for self-development, and I also do professional development training where I provide dynamic and research-based professional development to help young professionals who are interested in the human services field develop their skills around mental health and other social issues that are affecting the community.
Thank you. That is much needed and well said. I love the way it's broken down. This is important, listeners. Again, if you have an entrepreneur spirit and you're looking to take your passion and your degree and transform it into service and profit, listen to some of these things. Tanya is a mental health therapist and a consultant. You don't necessarily, and not that we say it's not good, but there is work to be done beyond the hospitals, beyond the shelters, beyond the schools. Those are some of the things that you hear. Okay, when you get that degree, go into a city, state job, federal job. That's amazing. But there are also things that you can utilize your degree for in which you are your own boss. And Tanya is one of those individuals that is making it happen. Now, I know that there have been some hurdles because in anything that's great comes much challenge and tribulations. Can you speak to some of the difficulties in launching your business in the beginning stages?
So in the beginning stages, when I was starting the private practice, the challenge really was building the clientele. And if you're not working anywhere else, if your clients do not show, you do not get paid. So you really have to engage the community to get what it is you need to build your practice. Another challenge is being able to negotiate the correct price for yourself and standing strong in what your service fees are, because people want to underpay you. So you have to be clear on what your worth is and what you will accept and will not accept, and be okay with saying no, thank you.
I think that remains to be a problem for a lot of entrepreneurs, no matter what the industry is, being paid for your worth and being okay with saying no and understanding that just because you said no to that doesn't mean that eventually you will not be paid for your worth tomorrow. A lot of us think that if we lose the opportunity of taking money, then another opportunity won't come, or it means that you're being selfish, or whatever it is that you will be thinking in your head. You have to know your worth, because a lot goes into helping others structure their lives, because the change doesn't come unless it's a two-way street. And that in itself requires a lot of your own time management. So you have to look at what your worth is. I remember someone asking me, and I said, well, what should I pay people for consultants? He said, well, look it up, first of all. Look up the work, and when you take the work into consideration, add also the labor. And that's a good way to start out. You have to add your labor, not just your expertise, but the labor that's going to go into the work. So thank you for sharing that because it is important to know.
If I could add, in addition to understanding your worth, looking at how many, like you said, labor, how many hours you are working to produce a product for your client, you have to not just charge for the product itself when it's done, but the hours put into it. So for me, I had to decide what is my baseline hourly rate, and then I would times that by how many hours it took me to do the project or develop the workshop that I'm doing. So that's important. And another challenge is also when you're in the field of mental health, working in community of colors, is being able to provide the service in a culturally sensitive way so that they can embrace it. Because, as I said earlier, there's a stigma attached to getting mental health treatment. So I usually refer to myself as a counselor. It's easier to go see a counselor than a therapist because a therapist implies to some people in their minds that there's something wrong with me and I'm crazy. I don't need to see a shrink, a psychiatrist. Well, I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm a medical doctor, actually. But as therapists in the field of mental health, we have to be mindful on how people see and define a social worker, because I'm a social worker, that's what my degree is, and I'm associated with ACS, they're going to take my children. So there's a lot of misconceptions about what social workers do and what therapy and what a therapist is. And you have to be able to redefine that for people.
Thank you for stating that. Extremely important to know. And I love that clergy, especially in East New York and the Bronx, I have to acknowledge the Bronx, my new home. I've been working with clergy out here. Clergy is doing a great job to break that stigma and the way community looks at mental health. It is really important because if we continue to look at mental health like that, we will not be able to get the services we need to produce the outcomes that we want in our households. Not even as professionals, in our households. There are so many things that can be dealt with if we look at mental health differently. So thank you for saying that, and I know that's an ongoing challenge. Sister, let me know how we can support you here at Darlene's Utopia to break those stigmas so, again, we can have people get the services that they need.
Okay, well, I would suggest that people will go out and get the book Black Pain, written by Terry Williams, which is really focusing on the issues that we're dealing with in the Black community for which we don't seek help. And the book is designed to encourage people to begin to seek mental health professional help. So I'm really encouraging people to go out and to begin to read that book, Black Pain.
And it is on our episode page. If you are, again, listening from your devices and not able to check out the episode page in your leisure, please refer back to it. And we have the link for Black Pain to begin your process. That's been added. Just thank you so much. The producers have that for you. I want to also, Tanya, just speak to just to name a couple of them and invite our listeners to check out the services. There are a lot of professional development trainings that Tanya provides through her company, Height. You have child development, working with children and adults, child protection and intervention, self-cultivation and personal development training, shaping organizational culture. Listeners, I participated in one of those trainings. Tanya is amazing. If you're looking for someone to come in and help restructure your organization, she does a phenomenal team building workshop. There's also program development overall. If you're looking to develop your own program, she can assist with that. Crisis intervention, substance abuse, mental health, as we've been talking about, building cultural competence and awareness, parent training, youth training. So, Tanya, I just want to ask about the parent training. Does that mean that someone that is mandated to go through ACS to take parental classes, you are able to work with them so that they can receive those certificates?
Yes, I'm able to work with a variety of parent populations on a different issue.
Good. That's great information to have, especially for some of our young people, because they think that they have to go to these big organizations and time becomes a factor when they really can just look into and get someone. If you are receiving this information and you know someone who is mandated by ACS, especially a young person, encourage them to look at the site and see if they can work with Tanya to get that certification that they need. Now, Tanya, right now, you are accepting payments on a payment scale, which you are working in the future to begin to establish payments through health insurances, which some of our listeners probably will need that service. So that service is forthcoming in probably the third or fourth quarter, correct?
Correct. So we applied to be on the panels, yes.
Good. So that's great. So what that means, listeners, is that in the upcoming months, Tanya may be able to accept your health insurance. Right now, it is on a pay scale, but that means that we're only taking cash. For some of us that are saying, well, what does the pay scale mean? It means we're only taking cash right now. It's your cash, debit, credit, nothing else outside of that. But your health insurance will be accepted in probably the third or fourth quarter, and you can keep checking with her for that. But aside from that, there is a magnitude of work that she does that is free. You can come out, participate in some of the trainings that she does within the community. Tanya's been active with my organizations, and we'll continue to share some of those things for our listeners, where if you cannot afford to go through her, maybe you can be attached to something where she's doing, where someone else is paying her. We'll look to pay her and then have you guys come out and join us. How's that sound, Tanya?
That sounds great. And I also saying that I don't want anybody to be deterred from getting the treatment that they need. So I offer sliding scale fees, and that it's negotiable. And I find that running the groups is more cost effective because you don't have to pay the full service fee. You pay a partial fee to be a part of a group, and group therapy is very effective. And I'm in the process of developing a series of healing circle seminars with Terry Williams that we are going to begin to open up in the communities, hopefully sometime in the fall. We're in negotiations about that now. And we want to partner with local churches to come in and provide those services at a reasonable fee, whether the institution pays for it or the individual pays for it on their own.
Thank you. And that's good to know, and we'll continue to share some of those things on the Power Zone as well as Darlene's Utopia. We invite you to join us for the Making of Moguls. We'll have Tanya out for 2016 if she accepts the invitation, and we'll be talking a little bit more about entrepreneurship as it relates to mental health. Because in order to be successful and take your passion and turn it into profit, you have to be aligned mind, body, and spirit. And we love when Tanya comes out and provides those services. So please check the dates for the Making of Moguls 2016, tentative for November of 2016. Tanya, time flies when you're having great conversation. It's been a pleasure. I want to let the listeners know that they can log on again to your website, Tanya SheRise Odums.com. You can link into that from our devices if you are, again, listening from your phone. Do you have any upcoming events in which you want our listeners to be mindful of at this time?
No public events at this time. However, I will update you so you can update your website as I begin to develop what is going to be happening over the summer.
Thank you so very much for that. And listeners, although we are in June right now, please be mindful that we just left May, and May is Mental Health Awareness Month nationally. It is important for you to be in the know of mental health, the latest happening. So if not for yourself, you can definitely help someone else that's in need of resources. Start with Tanya's page and then expand your knowledge to make a difference. This has been a pleasure. I always have a great time speaking with you.
And it was wonderful. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Listeners, until we meet next week on the Power Zone, be well and be safe. Have a good night, all.
The content of the Power Zone with DU, a component of Darlene's Utopia, is intended for general information purposes only. The views expressed by the show's hosts and their guests are their own and shall not be construed in any way as advice from the Power Zone with DU or Darlene's Utopia. Personal perspectives expressed by the producer, writers, editors, hosts, and guests will always be presented as such. We encourage you to seek professional advice for any problem in which you may have. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to Darlene's Utopia or the Power Zone with DU